Hello, world. I am so glad to be coming to you the fourth day in our summit, a day about fatherhoods and how we can improve and encourage dads around the world to be a better dad for their children and children who are watching them. Today, I have a very special guest with me. I have Mr. Aaron Walker. Aaron, thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Hey, Matt, I was fired up when I got that invitation to be on your summit, man. I was like, does he really want me to be on his summit? That was pretty cool. So I was just honored that you asked me. So thank you for having me today.
Man, I cannot wait to hear the words of wisdom that you're going to be dropping on us today. So, Aaron, for those people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Man, I'll go back probably a long way because my journey started young. I started working when I was 9 years old, fell in love with what I was doing at 13 years old, went to work full-time after school each day and on Saturdays at 18. Met a couple of guys that had a lot of money because I was broker and a convict. I didn't have any money whatsoever. And we went in business together with a couple of guys and started a business. And then when I was 27 years old, 9 years later, I sold out to a Fortune 500 and I was through. I thought, man, this is the American dream. You go broker than a convict to retiring at 27. Life couldn't be any better. Well, that's what I thought. What happened was I became extremely depressed. I was getting in the bed in the middle of the day. I didn't have any purpose. I gained 50 pounds in 18 months. Oh, wow. My wife come woke me up one day from a nap, and she said, this is not what I signed up for. We got married 2 weeks out of high school. And she said, this is not what I signed up for. You need to go get a job or you need to start another business, but you got to get out of this house. And first and foremost, you got to get out of this bed because you are driving me insane. So I went back and bought the company that I started with when I was 13 years old, and we built a very successful company over the next 9 or 10 years. Well, August 1st, 2001 is really where my story begins. I was headed to the office. That was 18 years ago. It was 7:30 on a Wednesday morning. I was headed to the office, and things were good. You know, I had 2 beautiful daughters, beautiful house. We had a place in the mountains, had all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was good. Until a guy named Enrique was crossing the street in front of me to catch a local bus, and he didn't look my way, and I ran over and killed a pedestrian that morning.
Oh, wow.
And, Matt, I want to tell you, man, my life come to a screeching halt. I don't know if you've ever gone through anything like that at all, but your life slows down to slow motion. And I'm like, God, this can't be happening to me. I can't even believe that this is going on. Well, to make a long story short, I sold the business. I couldn't handle the stress. I started going to see a guy, a counselor that could help me. And a lot of my friends gathered around me and they helped me. And I took off 5 years. I didn't do anything for 5 years. We traveled. We built a new house, kind of got my legs up under me. God gave me the grace to learn to deal with it. You never get over that, but God can give you the grace to deal with things that are horrific and tragic in your life. Robin wakes me up again from another nap, and she said, you're getting fat and lazy again. It's time to go back to work. So we went in the construction industry, and over the next 7 or 8 years, we built a very successful construction company here in Nashville. Then I turned 50, and I retired again. Robin said, you've retired more than the law allows, and so I retired. And my mastermind members that I'd been in mastermind with for years, Dave Ramsey and Dan Miller and Ken Abraham and Jeff Mosley and some of those guys, you may or may not recognize any of their names, but they said, what are you going to do now? And I said, I'm going to go to the Caribbean. I'm going to sit on the front porch of a tiki hut, and I'm going to drink iced tea every day. And Dan Miller said, that's the most selfish thing I've ever heard you say in my entire life. And I said, I wanted to poke him in the eye. I wanted to be like, what are you talking about? You know, like I've been working since I was 9. And he said, you've owned all these businesses. And he said, you've been married over 30 years. You need to coach. And so I started coaching and fell in love with it, started doing some podcast interviews. Our business kind of blew up, and God just really continued to bless it. Now we have 14 masterminds that we facilitate on a weekly basis, and we've got representatives from 8 different countries. And I'm having the absolute time of my life now, training ordinary men to become extraordinary in all they do. And I'm absolutely having a blast today, Matt. So I had to give a little backstory. It's 40 years of being an entrepreneur, and I'm having more fun now than I've ever had in my life.
Wow, that is quite a story. And I love one of the reasons I love your story is you've got your awesome wife who's still encouraging you through those tough times and helping you right along. I absolutely love that.
She's my biggest advocate and biggest supporter, no question about it. When we got married, Matt, we didn't have anything. I was broke and she was broker. I mean, we didn't have anything when we got married, and she stood in the gap, stood in the shadows and prayed for me, supported me, been right there to help me. We celebrate 39 years in June.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
So let's start off with that question is how important is it to have such a great support system in your wife?
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even be remotely close to where we're at today without her. You know, you're a team. When you get married, you know, you stand before God and you make a covenant to become one. And he didn't say you come and stand before me and become two, you become one. And Robin and I are a team, and we pray through things, we think through things, we talk about things, and if one of us don't want to do it, we don't do it. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now, to be honest with you. There have been some fights at my house. I'm just telling you. That's the truth of the matter, because you're two different people and you're not going to agree on every single thing right out of the gate. But, man, yeah, it is so important to have that kind of support behind you. Absolutely.
Man, that is awesome. Again, absolutely love that. And when you're taking a look at your life, and I love these words at the top of your website, live a life of success and significance. So what do those words personally mean to you? I mean, you've obviously, created several different successful businesses. You're helping people. You're significant in a lot of people's lives. You do a Facebook Live about every day to encourage and uplift people. So what do those words mean specifically to you?
Well, here's what happened on August 1st, 2001. Not specifically that day did I discover this, but what I discovered over the next 5 years was I'd had great success financially at a young age, and God really blessed us, and I'm very grateful and I'm very appreciative for that. But my legacy would have been this, Matt. Poor kid from Nashville, Tennessee, makes a lot of money, retires at 27, nobody cares. That's what my legacy would have been had I died that day. I felt very selfish in regards to that, and I felt very guilty. And I said, what's missing? And what was missing was the significance. Like, nobody cared the things that I had. I had a big house and a vacation home and a lot of toys. Nobody cared about those things but my family. And I hadn't made an impact. See, what I want to do is one day when I die, I want Scott and I want Matt to look at me and go, you know what? My life was better as a result of having known that guy. He helped me. He edified me. He encouraged me. He took me to places I'd never been. He made introductions. He supported me. He was there. He walked with me. And that's what I want to do. That's significance. Success are all the things that relate to yourself, and significance is what relates to other people. And I told God that day when it happened, I said, if you'll give me another shot, I'll do it differently. See, it's about being a giver, not a taker. And I want to give. I want to look outward. And here's what's happened as a result of that over the past 18 years. We've been hugely successful significantly, but we've been twice as successful financially. And I think that's the way God intended it. When we do it right and when we place others' desires and needs ahead of your own, you are successful in both arenas. So I help teach guys to be successful, but look outward. Don't be selfish. Don't make it all about yourself. Let's live a life of success. Here's the thing, Matt. When people with money go, money's not important, you run from them because they're liars. Money is hugely important, but don't make it your God. Don't make it your only focus. If you do, then what's going to happen? You're going to burn out. You're not going to last long term. We got to have purpose in our life. And you can develop a lot of people and help a lot of people and encourage a lot of people with money. You can help them. You can promote them. You can give away. I love David Green, Hobby Lobby. I mean, he's giving away hundreds of millions of dollars today. My good friend Dave Ramsey, he and I started our businesses together. He gave me advertising to Trime in 1995. He was on one station, never heard of him. And then I spent 21 consecutive years being his sponsor. And so Dave and I became very good friends. Dave now is very philanthropic. I mean, he's very, very much helping people. He's being very generous in the things that he's doing. He's got 800 employees now. So he's affecting a lot of people's lives, as well as having a little bit of money. Don't make money bad, right? No. And people do that oftentimes. So I encourage you to make money. I want to help you make money, but I want to help you get it in the right perspective.
That's great. Absolutely love that. And I think it's great and it's important, it's essential, especially for men, to understand and respect that mindset, that we need to have the right mindset. Uh, and I love what you had to say about live a life of success and significance, both, inwardly for ourselves and outwardly pushing
Right.
that. So,
I want to touch on something. You talked about mindset, and it's everything. Our mindset is everything. And Carol Dweck wrote a great book called Mindset, and she talks about either having a growth or a fixed mindset in the book. You want to get away from people with fixed mindsets, and you don't want to have a fixed mindset. What that is when you say, well, it's just the way it is, and you're just going to have to accept me. And that's not, I told a guy not long ago, he's a relative of mine, and he goes, that's just the way I am. I said, well, you need to change because nobody likes you. It was just a mindset that was fixed. Listen, guys, we can develop a different mindset. You can say, hey, with enough experience, enough people surrounding me, I get people to encourage me and edify me, and I pour myself out into other people. I can change the way I view things, right? Mindset is everything. So grab Carol Dweck's book called Mindset.
I would definitely have to check that out. My wife recently bought that, and I definitely still need to buy that. So how has this new mindset changed the way that you're a husband and how you're a dad and even how you're a grandpa?
Well, it's not necessarily how it has made me different in regards to how I am as a person, because my mindset's always been, I can do it. My mom had a little saying when I was young. It was can't, couldn't do it, and could did it all. And I hated that saying when I was little. She would not allow us to say the word can't. She would say, you might not be able to do it, but you're going to try. And what she was doing was pushing me through upper limit challenges. And she didn't even realize it at the time. Gay Hendricks talks about that a lot in his book, The Big Leap. And it helps push us through upper limit challenges. So I've developed a mindset of, I can do this. So when people ask me now, can you do this? Yes. What is it? What is it you want me to do? Not in an arrogant way, but in a positive way, right? And so also the mindset that it's helped me develop is a lot of people are afraid. Excuse me. They're afraid. And I'm like, what are you afraid of? They're like, I'm afraid to fail. Well, first of all, I don't even believe in failure. I believe you either succeed or you learn, one of the two. And I say fear missing an opportunity more than you fear failure. And if you'll develop that mindset coupled with can't, couldn't do it, and could did it all, you're going to succeed without a question. How it's helped me view life in general is just thinking that the people on the sideline telling you can't do something, it's like I'm going there. I'm going to get focused. You're going to get run over if you don't move over, because I am going there. You develop a positive mentality of how you can accomplish things. I don't allow people in my life, in my inner circle, that are, you're never going to do that. You can't accomplish this. You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I don't even allow people who are my grandchildren or my children that have that negative approach. Some of you people have got friends you need to get rid of. There's people in your life that are holding you down. We can't choose our family, but we can choose our friends. And you need to get people around you that edify you and encourage you, to help you promote and help take you to that next level. And you do all this through mindset. You choose to do these things. So I think it touches, to answer your question, Matt, I think it's vital. I think it's got to happen in our mind first, or it's never going to happen in reality. You've got to believe you can do it. You've got to get the people around you that can help develop that mindset within you.
Wow, there's so many great gold nuggets within that, changing your own mindset, getting around people who can encourage you. You quoted Jim Rohn there about you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. There's someone right now who's watching and they're going, man, Aaron, Matt, you don't understand where I come from. You don't understand the poverty that I'm in, the struggles that my family are going through. What are some of the greatest tips that you have seen or heard about changing someone's mindset?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. People say that all the time. They say, when you say they grew up in poverty and they don't, I want to go back and tell a little bit more of my history, okay? This will help a little bit, because people hearing this and seeing me for the first time go, yeah, you're successful now and you have money and you've had 12 businesses. There's no way I could do that. I wished I had the picture pulled up. I would share it. I was raised in a 600 square foot house 4 children, 2 adults. My dad never made over $15,000 a year in his life. We came from what I would call today extreme poverty. I didn't go to college. I don't have a college education. Matter of fact, to be honest with you, I wanted to be in the business I was in when I was 15 years old. So I went to summer school and night school for 18 months. I had enough credits to graduate the beginning of my junior year in high school. So I didn't have to go my junior and senior year in high school. So I went to one class, which was DECA, my junior year, and then I went twice my senior year to register and to graduate. That was what I did. And it was because I chose to go to summer school and night school around the clock and work. And I started out at $1.70 an hour when I started out working. And you're like, hey, Big A, you hear all this. Well, I didn't have anything, like nothing, no formal education or anything. And I say this with great humility, but here I am, 58 years old today. I've owned 12 businesses. We're on 13 and 14 now. And it's because of that grit and determination and perseverance of I can do it and I will do it. And I won't allow people to tell me that I can't. It's a mindset. So it's not about what you came from because I didn't have anything. It's not about the formal education because I don't have that either. It's all the mindset. I decided that I was going to make something of myself. And you can too. If you're listening to me today, you can't have come from more poverty than I did. You can't have less of an education than I had, and you can do the same thing that I did. But you've got to have that grit, determination, that perseverance. You've got to have that desire deep within you. You can't listen to those naysayers. You've got to give everything you've got. You got to get off the couch and quit playing Xbox and Fortnite and all that crap. I hate video games. But, you got to quit doing all that stuff, and you've got to go out there and you've got to determine what it is that you want. And you got to get up and do it consistently every single day. You got to develop a plan. You can't leave anything on the field. You got to squeeze every drop out of the towel every day. And you got to get up tomorrow and you got to go do it again. And here's what happens. The harder you work, the luckier you get. And you'll see a momentum happen. You'll see this critical mass that's starting to develop. You'll start developing those relationships that help you. And once you do that and people know you're honorable and you have character and integrity and people can believe what you say and they see how hard you work and they pour money into you, they help you, and then you become successful. It's all about the mindset. It's all about the work. It's all about what's in your mind and what you want to accomplish. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it, because I know you can do it. I'm proof of that happening, and you can do it too.
That's great. I love how your mom set this up by saying, "Hey, you're not allowed to say the word can't. You're not allowed to say that." And I love your attitude towards that. I can do it. What do you need me to do? I love that approach to it. So as dads, how can we push that approach into our children? Not saying the words "I can't" obviously is one of the big ways, but what are some other steps that we can take to instill that value and that attitude of, wow, I can do it. What do you need me to do?
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm going to make some people mad with this, Matt. They may check out right here. But the thing is we've got to take ownership ourselves as dads. We've got to know that that's our responsibility. It's not the school's responsibility. It's not the church's responsibility. It's not your family's responsibility. It's your responsibility to lead your home. And you've got to sit down and teach your children and train your children. What we do is we stick one of them dead-gum video games in them, and they're babysitters, and they become addicted. I've got a client right now that's in Los Angeles, California. He's a psychologist, and he said that the number one problem with the families today are the electronics, and he said he spends 8 hours a day helping people get off electronics. And I mentioned Fortnite a while ago because he said that's the number one game that's out there that is so addicting. People don't realize how addicting that is, and it is ruining our children today. And I want to tell you something. You can get back. Listen, I did a video not long ago, Facebook Live. It got 40,000 organic views in 48 hours, me talking about these video games. Parents, listen, you think, it's okay. It's not okay. It is taking the life over of our children today. And we've got to get that stuff. I'm not saying that you should ban it completely, but set the dials on there to 30 minutes or an hour a day. And these kids are doing 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day, and they're not learning anything else. And then the dads are going on about their way. They're working. They're doing whatever they're doing. And then what's going to happen, you're going to come home one day with a pocket full of money to a house full of strangers. You're not even going to know your kids. You're not going to know your wife. You're going to be successful financially, and you're going to be a rich old guy with no relationships. And then you're going to realize what's going on, and your kids are going to be 16, 17 years old. They're going to have their life of their own, and they're not going to want to come back home. They're going to develop a life and a relationship with somebody else, and you're going to miss that opportunity to pour into those kids. So you need to wake up today and go, today is the day. I'm putting a stake in the ground today, and I'm going to be the dad that God's called me to be to my children. And I'm going to educate them and train them and teach them, and I'm going to show them the principles of life. I'm going to give them the character and the honesty and the integrity and the morality that these kids should have today and spend time with. Kids spell love T-I-M-E. That's how they spell love. They don't care about your stuff. They care about your time. And if you're not giving them that time, you're going to lose the ability to pour into them like you should. So I just want to encourage you today, man, build boundaries around your life and spend the time that you need to teach your children, because you only got one chance. This is not a practice run. When they're gone, they're gone. You don't get a do-over. And so I would say step up today and pay attention, because those kids are going to be gone like that.
That brings up a great question. And Aaron, I know in your life, you're crazy busy. You're running several different businesses. I think you said between 12 and 14 businesses. You're running masterminds. You're a very intentional man. You write down a schedule and try to keep it. What are some different ways that we can be very intentional in our marriage and with our children?
Well, we plan. First of all, it's not by accident. We live a life being very proactive, not reactive. I sit down with Robin and we decide the things that we want. Now, listen, I'm not perfect, man. We have so many blunders and we get back on track. You know, I don't want to sit up here today and tell you I got it all together. I don't have it all together. There's so many areas in my life that need improvement, and I'm having to get accountability for guys to help me work on those things. But we're intentional about our life. We're not letting our life happen to us. We're happening to life, right? We sit down and we plan. One of the biggest things that you just said that we do is that we write down what we want to accomplish. Because if it's not written down, it's not a goal, it's a dream. And I want to tell you right now that the people that write down their goals, and you say, well, I hear this from everybody. Well, it's true. So why don't you do it? If you know that, you've got to write it down. We do Brian Moran's 12-week year. And if you're not done the 12-week year, I encourage you today to get off of this interview as soon as I get through and buy the 12-week year by Brian Moran. We have 130 guys in our mastermind group now in about 14 different groups. And many of them have implemented this strategy and have added millions of dollars to their top line revenue because it makes you focus, right? You don't need to be an inch deep and a mile wide. You need to be an inch wide and a mile deep. See, the riches are in the niches, and you've got to focus. We grow through elimination, not through addition. And the more you can get rid of things, the more hyper-focused you can become on the thing that matters. You need to operate in your lane of genius, not in your lane of competence. You need to operate where it gives you energy, not where it drains you. And once you get in that sweet spot, then you can dial in, you can become very proficient at that one thing. So you have to write these things down and follow every day the task that you need to do. The goal will take care of itself if you'll take care of the daily task. The biggest thing that I could offer this group today is this one word: consistency. Without consistency, you're going to have no success whatsoever. And the reason that I write it down, because I know every day what I need to do every day. And they say, Big A, you just seem to do it every day. I do it that way because I write it down. I know what it is. I don't have to get up today and go, I wonder what I'm going to do today. I know what I'm going to do today. And I do that every single day. We've written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of blogs. I've done almost 1,000 podcast interviews in the past 48 months. I do Facebook Lives 3 and 4 days a week, and people say, you go out there, rain, hail, sleet, or shine. You know why? Because I said I was going to do it. That's why I do it every single day. People go, it's raining outside today. That's what they make umbrellas for. It's cold. Put a coat on. You got to get out there every single day. You can't let the elements dissuade you from doing the right thing. You can't let people say, well, I did 6 blogs and it didn't get any. 6 blogs, that is ridiculous. Well, I did it for 6 or 8 weeks. I say, I wear the same shirt for 6 weeks. You got to do it over and over, and don't let anybody, you got to be the weeble wobble doll. They knock you down, you get right back up, and you do that over and over, and they'll go, this dude is here to stay. And people start paying attention, and then you become successful. And that's what you got to do in parenting. People say, my kid won't do this. Are you kidding me? You're the parent. They're the kid. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Quit warning them, quit counting. I used to look at my little girls and I'd say, listen, Daddy said no. And if you do that again, I'm going to bust your hind end. And I bust their hind end. And they would know the next time I was serious. I didn't waver on that. It's like, it was consistent. And then you'll take a lot of stress. I could get off on a whole nother tangent, man, about this. We're the parent. They're the child. We've got to rear them the right way. We've got to teach them and train them and show them. They're kids. No disrespect to them, but they're too dumb to know the right thing. They're kids, and we've got to be consistent. I hear parents all the time say, well, I just can't get him off that video game. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're the parent. Stand up and take control. Don't be mean to them, but be consistent. Let them know what you're saying. You mean business. It'll make your life a lot better. It'll make the parent's life a lot easier because you're consistent with your children. But do that in every arena. In every regard to your parenting, let them know that what you say is exactly what you mean, and you watch how your life will be different.
I love this. I think too many times as parents, we have this idea or this mentality, getting back to mindset, we have this mindset or mentality that we want to be our children's friend instead of our children's parent. What does that do to our children today, and what are some of the effects that we're going to see because of it?
Yeah, I want to be my kids' friend too. I have adult children now, Brooke and Holly. They're 35 and 31, and we're great friends. We work here. I'm standing in my office now, and Holly's office is right there, and Brooke's office is right there. I get to work with my kids every day. It's amazing. I'm living the dream. I'm just telling you, I pinch myself sometimes and think, well, I get to have lunch with my kids. We're involved in certain things together. We get to sit and talk about business. They live, 3 miles one way and 4 miles the other. I get to see them every day. It's like I'm living the dream. But you know what? If I hadn't have been the parent that was deliberate and was their dad first, we wouldn't have that relationship we have today. I want to be their friend today, but even today, they honor me as their dad first, right? You're the parent. It's not your responsibility to be their best friend. That's what's wrong with them today. Parents want their kids to think they're cool. Well, what I want to do is grow up my children in a way that they're responsible adults, and I can't do that by being their friend. You've got to be their dad, and you've got to be their mom first. They hated my guts at times, but I'm like, you know what? I'm the parent. That's why God gave you to me to raise you, because you don't know the difference. And one day you'll understand. My daughter came to me the other day. She's got my 16-year-old granddaughter, and she came to me and hugged me. She goes, you know what? I didn't understand then, but I understand now. Thank you. Right? I'm just telling you guys, you can't be their friend when they're little. You've got to be their mom, and you got to be their dad.
Yeah, I completely agree. I saw a meme the other day that said you can either raise your children today or you can raise your grandchildren in 20 years.
Yeah.
And I completely wholeheartedly agree with that. We've got so many people that are walking around who have kids that have no idea how to be parents. Yeah. They don't take the initiative. They don't take the responsibility, and they let their kids run wild. Mm. And I love this, and I didn't even plan for it, but this entire session has been about mindset and understanding your own value. That way you can implement that into your children. And that way they understand their value, which completely can change their lives. How much does that really matter? If my mindset is not in the right place, then what is going to be the results of that?
Well, sure. You got to put the right thing in to get the right outcome, right? And so personal development is huge. And a lot of people, it so saddens me to say this, and you take an evaluation of yourself when I make this comment, all of you out there, nobody to answer, but there's like 2 of us on here, or 3 of us on here. But the thing is that most people, once they graduate from college, they never read another book. I can't even fathom that. The personal development that we have to do, and I'm not saying this to put a feather in my cap. I'm not saying this. I've read hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books over the past 2 decades because I have other men in the mastermind groups that are challenging me to read. When I first joined Dave Ramsey's mastermind group a couple of decades ago, I said, what are we going to do in here? He goes, we're going to read a lot. I said, I don't like to read. He goes, well, get over it because we're going to read. And I'm like, dang, Dave had the same personality then that he's got now. He's just hardcore, and he challenged me to start reading. And man, we read just nonstop, and I have been. So I'll read a couple of hours every day now. And I get up early and I read, and if you don't if you don't get something, you don't wake up just smarter. You don't learn through osmosis just because you go to sleep. You don't get smarter. And so listening to great TED Talks and listening to great podcasts and doing summits like yours and going to conferences and reading books. I heard Darren Hardy say several years ago that he spent 10% of his gross revenue on personal development. And I thought, dang, that's a lot of money. And I got to thinking about it, and I came back and pulled my profit and loss and my balance sheet and looked at them. I spend more than 10% on personal development. And as a result of that, I'm more successful every year because of the information. You got to learn. I had dinner with a guy the other night, and he told me, he goes, there's the power is in wisdom. And I said, no, it's not. And he looked at me and I said, the power is in execution. You can know all you want, but I said, that's useless as tits on a boar hog if you don't implement it, right? We got to implement the wisdom. So it's all about execution. And so we read and then we implement. We read and then we implement, right? And when you read, it opens new doors that you never even knew existed. When you walk through that door, you go, man, there's a whole nother world here. And it gives you the ability to talk to other people that you wouldn't have been able to talk to otherwise. Jeff Hoffman was one of the guys that started Priceline, and I got an opportunity to meet him at a conference. He's a multi-billionaire today, and here's what he told us. He said that 90% of his great ideas come as a result of reading things that he doesn't like. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, I read things every day that have nothing to do with any business I own or anything I enjoy reading, because it broadens my horizon. It opens my mind to new possibilities. And the guy started companies just everywhere now. Well, listen, if a guy like that is telling me something and he's a multi-billionaire, why would I not want to execute on that? Why would I not want? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Get around people that are smarter than you. I want to be the dumbest person in the room. I want to surround myself with trusted advisors that are non-biased, that don't have anything to gain or lose as a result of what they tell me. And when they tell me information, I'm going to be like, hey, he hasn't got anything to gain by telling me that. So why would I not want to execute on that? Guys, we're designed to be in community. We've got to be in mastermind groups, or we've got to be in accountability groups. We got to surround ourselves with people that can help take us to the next level. It gives you a measure of accountability. It gives you a challenge to go forward. It gives you the ability to learn things you never would have learned before. Isolation is the enemy to excellence. And if you want to take your life to new heights you've never been, you've got to get community around you on a weekly basis to help take you to where you need to be. So yes, Matt, it's everything.
Man, I absolutely love that. And as we're slowing down and starting to come to a close, there's somebody out there who's watching this that says, man, I never thought about this idea of personal development and how much it really means. So where should I start? How should I start developing myself so that way I can pour into my family more? What would your recommendation be?
Yeah, there again, most people stay in a form of isolation. And the reason is because they don't want people to know that there's some things they don't know about. Strength begins in vulnerability and transparency. And when you can let the veil down, you can let the facade down and let people know, hey, I don't have it all together. And I told you earlier, Robin and I argue and we fight, and there's things that I don't know about, and I have to go to people and say, hey, I don't know this or know that. I don't know this person. Can you help me with that introduction? Most people want everybody to think I've got it together. I'm making plenty of money. I'm smart. I've got a great job. I don't struggle with anything. Well, you're a liar. The truth is we all struggle with things, right? We all have areas of our life. There's superpowers that I have, but there's an Achilles or a kryptonite that I've got as well. And then there's blind spots. There's things that I don't even know. Years ago, Robin told me, she said, you're pretty strong at what you're saying to people. People perceive that as you being condescending or arrogant. She said, they really don't know you. You're really not condescending. You're really not arrogant, but I don't candy coat things. I'm just like, Matt, hey, we got to get this fixed. And she said, people don't take that well, but when they get to know you, they know you've got a tender heart and you really want best for them. Well, it made me think about how I present things. It was a blind spot. See, I had to have people around me to see that. and people help me with that. I send out questionnaires now to friends of mine, 30, 40-year friends, and you wouldn't believe these questions that I ask them to answer about me, because I want to learn. I want to get better, right? And so we have to get people around us to do that. That's the number one thing. Get involved in some group. Local mastermind, get in a virtual mastermind. We have Iron Sharpens Iron Mastermind, and people's lives are being transformed daily as a result of it, because they have people around them weekly with accountability tools. They're reading, they're challenging. We have conferences, they go to it. And yes, there is a cost associated. People say, I can't afford to do that. You maybe can't afford not to do it. I had a guy invest, listen to this real quick. He made $20,000 a year. That's what he was making 3 years ago, $20,000 a year. And he contacted me, said, I want to join your mastermind group. The mastermind group's $425 a month. Yeah, that's a lot of money. It's $5,000 a year. That's a lot of money. And I give you that. And I said, I'm not sure you can afford that right now. He goes, I can't afford not to do it. I got to do it. He said, because otherwise I would be doing better right now if I knew what I was doing. He called me the other day and I started laughing. He's done $400,000 this year in gross revenue. And I started laughing. I said, David, how did you do that? He goes, I listened to my mastermind group. I did the things that they said. So he goes from $20,000 a year to $400,000 a year in 3 years. Well, the thing is he said himself, he said, I didn't know what I didn't know. And when people started holding me accountable and I started doing the things that I was supposed to do, it opened doors. We read books. We did these accountability tools. We did the live summits. We did those things, and it changed my life. Well, that's what we can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. And most of the time, we're stepping over dollars, picking up dimes. You've got to invest the money in order to do the things that you need to do. It's an investment. And I'm not trying to sell you on it, but I guess I'm trying to sell you. It's true. I wouldn't have been doing it for decades now if it didn't work. Carnegie, one of the richest guys on earth, the steel magnate, he attributes all of his success to his mastermind group because he didn't know what he didn't know. And I just want to encourage you guys today, if you just can't get involved in that, get an accountability group. Get 3 or 4 guys to meet with you on a regular basis. Form your own mastermind group in your community and make a pledge that you're going to go. And you watch what develops. You watch what transpires as a result of that. Start reading. Start listening to podcasts. Start watching TED Talks. I love TED Talks. I'm a TED Talk junkie. I love those. Start filling your mind with great information, and you watch your life transform.
That's great. Love that. I'm still waiting for your TED Talk. If you've got one, I haven't.
Dang, I've applied. I don't have it, man. I keep trying. I'm applying. It's hard to get on those TED Talks. But anyway, I'm working on it. I'm going to do it. You know what? Because I don't quit. Couldn't do it and couldn't do it at all. And Big A is going to have a TED Talk. You just hold tight.
Exactly. Last question. You've already shared with us so much about how you personally go and that you're very intentional about your personal development. What are 3 or 5 things that you do specifically every day to help develop yourself to be a better man, to be a better husband, to be a better dad, to be a better person?
We could do a whole nother segment on this, but I'll just go real quick. First of all, I'm a very routine, regimented person every single day. Like I have a quiet time. I'm a Christian by faith. And so first and foremost, that's the most important in my life. Christ is the most important thing in my whole life above all. I spend an hour to an hour and a half every morning in prayer, praise and worship, reading scripture memorization, and just studying in the Word, because I can't hear from God if I'm busy, and I've got to slow down. And he said he speaks to us in a small, still voice. And if I'm running wide open, reading Facebook and emails, I can't hear from him. So I do that 5 days a week. I've been doing that for decades is the first thing. The next thing that we do is we give back. We spend about 25% of our time looking how we can aid other people. I do endorsements all the time. I do interviews like I'm doing for you. I do things to help other people. I do LinkedIn recommendations. I do book endorsements. I'm giving out all the time. I'll send emails of encouragement, text of encouragement. I'll call people when I don't want anything to encourage them. I want to give back all the time. So you've got to do that. Look for opportunities to help people when it's not convenient for you. We're all busy. Everybody says, I'm too busy. I'm busy. We're all busy. But if you're going to really give back to the community, you've got to do it intentionally. It goes back to the list. It goes back to being very intentional. Get a Google Doc or something. Write out what you're going to do every single day. Get people to hold you accountable for doing that. Look and see how you can share. I believe in hope. I had a guy call me not long ago, and he said, Big A, I want to join your mastermind. I said, come on. And he goes, well, I got to be honest with you. He said, the only reason I want to join is because I want to coach and I want to build masterminds. And I felt like I needed to tell you before I joined your group. That's the only reason I'm joining. I said, praise the Lord. Come on, I'll teach you everything I know. He goes, you got to be kidding me. I said, there's 7 billion people on the planet. You think I got this cornered? I'll teach you and train you everything. And I did. I opened the books. I showed him. Here's our systems. Here's the processes. Here's our core values, our mission statement. Here's everything. Here's what we do, and training him. And he couldn't believe it. And I said, man, it's about giving, right? You got to have an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. And the more you share and the more you give and the more you show people, the natural reciprocity is they want to be around you. They want to buy your products. They want to buy your services. And when you get that giving mindset, man, it changes everything. Quit holding your cards close to your chest and share and give and help, and you watch the transformational experience that'll happen in your life.
I absolutely love that. And as somebody who I guess is getting to know you better, I've met you in person, once or twice. Aaron is a man who practices exactly what he preaches. Aaron is extremely giving. He was more than willing to jump on this summit and help us out to give his nuggets of wisdom and help us out and stuff. So, Aaron definitely knows what he's talking about. And Aaron, please tell us a little bit about your business and your mastermind and how people can get in contact with you.
Well, I appreciate it, Matt. I don't want to make it about me. I'd rather make it about the people, but just a real quick side note, you can learn more about us at viewfromthetop.com. All of our social media platforms are there. I would love to have a conversation with you. If you really are serious about a mastermind, I'm telling you, there's life transformational experience happening there like you've never seen in every regard, both personally and professionally. And I would love to have you apply to be a member of our mastermind. Straight up, I think it would be an amazing community for you to be involved in, and I would encourage you to fill out that application and let's have a phone chat. Go grab my book, View from the Top. You can get that in any bookstore, and you can get it online at Amazon. You can contact me. If you want an autographed copy, reach out at Aaron at viewfromthetop.com, and I'll be glad to autograph and maybe do a little note, jump on a call with you. I want to get to know you. I'm a relationship guy, and I want to get to know you. My phone number is online, so if you want to call me, give me a shout, and let's just build a relationship and see how we can help each other.
Man, that is absolutely awesome. Aaron, thank you so much for helping us out in the summit. Take notes, people. Go back, re-listen to this interview, and take some great notes. Aaron shared a lot with us about mindset and how we can do whatever we put our mind to. The word can't should never be in our vocabulary. Once we as men and as husbands, as dads, understand that when we take that word out of our vocabulary, our children are going to take notice and they're going to take it out of their vocabulary. We can do anything that we put our minds to. Aaron, thank you once again so much for helping us out, for joining us on this summit. If you want more information about what Aaron's about, please check out his website, View from the Top. You can see in the background there, his mastermind is called Iron Sharpens Iron. I have yet to hear anything bad about this mastermind.
Thank you.
Aaron legitimately gives everything he has to this mastermind. He's very intentional, as you heard in this interview, and he's a relationship guy. He wants to help people out. That's one of the things I love so much about Aaron and his ministry and his mission in life. If you want more information about what Wrestling with Fatherhood is all about, check out our website, www.fatherhood.com. Again, that's www.fatherhood.com. Also, make sure you check out the podcast, Wrestling with Fatherhood. Thank you for joining us today. I hope you guys have a great day.
See you, buddy.